So I grew up in Vail, Colorado, and I would say I had a very active childhood, hiking, skiing, snowboarding, definitely a dream. I was one of those kids that never got hurt. I only saw the doctor because I had to, because my school said I had to see the physician. So then at the age of 12, my life took a drastic turn. My family was in a near fatal car accident. Road tripping across the country, my brother fell asleep at the wheel, and the car went off the interstate, and my head broke through the side of the window, and the frame of the car shattered my shoulder, and it caused me to paralyze the fourth of my body. And then my body then torpedoed out of the car, and the car rolled over me. I finally woke up, and I had paramedics all around me. They were like, oh my gosh, she's awake. Can you feel your legs? Can you feel your toes? And they started asking all these questions. And I remember frantically screaming, where is my arm? I never knew that that would be the moment that I would never feel my arm again. It felt like it was totally detached from my body. I had no control over it. And I obviously didn't know that injury was permanent. And I think it was just that pivotal moment of life's gonna be really different from now on. Being in the ICU for a few weeks, back-to-back surgeries. I had a 13-hour nerve transplant, transplanting nerves from my legs to my spinal cord, trying to see if they could regain anything. Reconstruction surgeries. It was definitely a season of being in and out of the hospital all the time, always recovering, always in physical therapy. And I think the thing that I was surprised the most was how differently I was treated. I went from being an able-bodied kid to a kid with a disability, and the drastic difference of how people viewed me and treated me was really surprising. You know, there was a lot of emotions and pain in that season. I had a lot of people tell me that my scars and my arm were so disgusting that I should cover it up, and that no one wants to see it. And it was this constant thing where almost daily people would tell me how uncomfortable they were. And so I started to believe it, and I started to kind of become a shell of myself, because I just felt so much shame and guilt that my situation, my pain, my scars made people so uncomfortable. So I felt almost like I needed to kind of pull away and isolate to make other people more comfortable. I tried to live life like a normal high schooler as best as I could, getting involved in sports and activities, while also being in back-to-back surgeries and constantly trying to improve the nerve pain. And I finally got into that rhythm of what it was like to live with one arm. And then I get into college, and that is when it was kind of like round two of a whole nother issue that came up. I had a spinal cord surgery to address my nerve pain. And in that spinal cord surgery, they didn't screw in one of the discs correctly. So when they kind of reconstructed and put my neck back together, the disc after the surgery started sliding out and severing nerves on the left side. And so a few months after that surgery, I started losing mobility and fine motor skills in my left arm, which is my only functioning arm. So we had a chiropractor, and he would adjust the disc, and I would be able to use my arm for like a few hours. And then the disc would slide out again and cut off that nerve, and I would instantly lose 90% of the mobility all over again. But we would never know when I would lose it. So I could be driving, or I could be, in a cafeteria holding a tray and fully functioning, my arm is working, and then lose it, drop everything. It's all on the ground. People are confused because now I can't pick it up. And I think in that time, I just didn't have that community support. And so I became really isolated. There were seasons and moments of loneliness, isolation, of not feeling like I was worthy of love, of not worthy of friendship. And I had to find strength to just get to the next day. Over that course of the year, thankfully, my body started to heal, and I started to regain the use of my left arm again, and my heart began to heal. And I started to reach out. I started to seek help. I started to be more vulnerable in letting people in my life know that I needed support. And I started to see hope and joy when I started allowing other people to come back into my life. And that was really what brought hope. So I met my husband when I was 17, but he was one of my best friends through college. He was there every step of the way. He was there when my pain was so excruciating, my body would start convulsing. You know, he was there when I would be in a complete puddle, and he would help pick up the pieces. He's my backbone. In 2018, I got this really rare syndrome that took my left arm. And within 4 days, I went from being fully capable of my left arm to losing 95% of my mobility. And it just felt like I was in deja vu. Like, oh my gosh, I just lost my left arm again from something completely unrelated. But the experience was so drastically different because of the support and the community I had around me. I felt like I had learned, okay, when you go through trials, you gotta open up and you gotta let people love you. And, you know, I couldn't isolate anymore. I needed to let people in, and the difference in that experience was life-changing. Photography has been an incredible part of my story. Going back to high school when I tried to join a film photography class, and I was actually told that film photography was a two-armed art and I wouldn't physically be able to do it. I took that as a challenge and decided I was gonna write my own story. And now I am a full-time adventure and elopement photographer. You know, we can't let someone else define our story. And I think when you have community, you let people into your life, and you are willing to fail and you're willing to keep trying, we can do so many things and we can push through the impossible.